Welcome. I am Vidya Dwivedi and I welcome you all to this Sunday special episode of Bureaucrats India Dialogue Series. Today we have a very special guest, Ms. Minal Karanwal, IAS. From education to empowerment, Minal Karanwal, IAS has been redefining grassroots governance with her innovative approach. A 2019 batch IAS officer of the Maharashtra cadre, she currently serves as CEO of Jalgaon Zila Parishad following her impactful tenure in Nanded. Her initiatives like Balika Panchayat have encouraged young girls to participate in governance, while her unique campaign, Displacing Buckets with School Supplies, has directly benefited students in rural schools. Earlier in Nandurbar, she pioneered the Vedh Movement, strengthening foundational literacy and numeracy in ashram schools. With a strong focus on community-driven solutions, she continues to shape policies that uplift education, healthcare, and rural development. In this conversation, we explore her journey, challenges, and vision for the future. We welcome you, ma'am. Looking forward to have an insightful conversation with you.
Thank you so much, Vidya. Thank you so much for a kind introduction and having me here. Thank you.
So, ma'am, let's start with your journey. How has been your experience in bureaucracy so far?
Wow. If I have to answer in one word, I think I'll call it really wonderful because when when we think of a job where we can also satisfy something we want to do for the people, but the job should also have a good profile. As such, I think it fits both the square holes pretty well, and I'm really, really happy with what what I've done.
That's wonderful. So, ma'am, you have recently taken charge as CEO of Jalgaon Zila Parishad. So, what are your key priorities for the district?
This is my second Zila Parishad after Nanded, and there are things in Nanded that I was unable to achieve. So it's kind of natural that I also look forward to doing those things in Jalgaon. So one of the primary things I wanted to work upon here is self-help groups. So, we keep on hearing about Lakpati Didis, that's the Honorable Prime Minister's program, and we keep on hearing that we want to increase their productivity, increase their income, make them into Lakpatis. And, it was natural that the moment I got into Jalgaon, the project was kind of on the table. So I was really, really glad to push it. And now we are establishing 8 rural malls for and run by the self-help groups. So I think that is something I want to really execute because it's been planned, but it needs to be taken forward for women by women, and really hope that how DMarts run in the urban area, they could also pick up speed here. We're calling them Bahina Bhai Marts here, which is after a historical personality of Jalgaon. And my second priority here is cleanliness. So the Pani Purvata and Swachhata Minister, which is a water supply and sanitation minister for Maharashtra state, is from Jalgaon. So, I feel like it's also but natural for me to pick up something like that and go ahead. And I've always wanted to be known as an officer who's worked on waste. In Nanded, I was unable to translate it into reality. I mean, there were multiple projects in the pipeline, and I was transferred here to Jalgaon. Here, I do want to take forward my projects on waste collection, segregation, and processing. So I hope these two priorities, and these are two priorities I want to work in depth. That's it. Rest, normal how routine work keeps on going on. But these are two things I want to do in Jala.
That's wonderful, ma'am. But you have taken some really good initiatives in Nanded. So, one of those was Balika Panchayat, which was like very famous, and it led to participation of girls in governance. So, tell us something about us in detail, please.
Yes, Balika Panchayat is also something that will happen in Jalgaon as well. Because I feel like now wherever I go, I think I should take the shadow of that project with me. So Balika Panchayat was something I got to know through a training in IIM Ahmedabad, which was being hosted by MOPR, which is Ministry of Panchayati Raj, and there was a sarpanch from the Kutch area of Gujarat who had actually initiated this idea, and he was there sharing it with us, showing us videos of how Balika Panchayat was actually talking to the then WCD minister, Miss Smriti Raniji. And I remember watching it and saying this, this is wonderful. This girl has so much confidence that she can come and talk to a minister. And I want to get these girls on the same platform, give them exposure, confidence, make them into a lobby where they can negotiate with the Gram Panchayat based on their needs and their demands and their requirements. So I went ahead and I constituted this Balika Panchayat in 211 Gram Panchayats of Nanded, which was by calling the most active sarpanches. And I told them that, look, you worked already on social parameters, and this is the Kutch model, and this is what happens, and this is my basic idea. So I gave them a very clean slate. I said, look, this is what you can do, and I don't want to tell you exactly how to go about it, but this is what I want. I want a set of confident young women in Nanded. And for the first 2 3 months, they were unable to understand because it didn't involve inaugurating any building. It didn't involve any funds. It didn't involve any IAC of that sort, like where MLAs and MPs are coming and appreciating you. So it was a little difficult to give that initial push. But I think over time, when one and two sarpanches started showing it, I think it picked up great momentum. We had girls fighting for alcoholism, against child marriages, establishing Kanya banks, negotiating for RO filter plants in their schools, and so many things happened. And there were these male sarpanches, which I should highlight and underline, who are actually sensitive to their needs. Something we forget, that there are men who are equally partners in women empowerment as well. So I think Balika Panchayat also equally uh, contributes its success to these male sarpanches. That's it.
Right. And were there some challenges as well which you would like to address in Jalgaon if you start the same
Uh,
initiative here as well?
Not really, actually. There were 2 3 villages, yes, where people were a little, why uh, you mobilizing them, for example, or
Mm-hmm.
why are you kind of putting your head in something like this? So, yes, but then again, I didn't do anything there. The Sarpanch and the girls itself took the initiative, mobilized even harder, and showed results. So I think what I want to translate in Jalgaon is this exact spirit that was there in Nanded, because I think this project is not about paper, not about guidelines. This project was more about the spirit of the rural community of India, which most of the urban people refuse to identify, is that they are equally motivated, equally equal minded,
Mm-hmm.
equally I don't know, equally just driven towards a social cause as well. So we do have that pockets, and why not push them forward as rockets rather than generalizing them with the same tone that we do for rural India?
Right. So you have worked across Maharashtra. So what do you feel is the general perception of people in rural communities in Maharashtra towards such kind of initiatives, especially towards empowerment of women or
I think,
girls, for instance?
yeah, I think it's a mix, because as goes for urban India, as goes for any developed country like America for that matter, which is still debating abortion, to be very honest. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Rural communities in India are as complex as any other community, but I have seen that women in rural areas are much more empowered because they are all working. So I feel like even if there's hidden labor, which kind of is the biggest criticism of farm labor, I see women who are working in the fields, who are out there, who are taking decisions. And when most of the workforce in a village, आंगनवाड़ी सेविका, आशा ताई, SHGs की जो community mobilizers, they're all so they work and they're so driven, and if you give them something where you're supporting them as a system, which we did in terms of Balika Panchayat, I think they show stupendous, fabulous response results. It's just that one stimuli, that one support that they need, which we give them, and boom, it's like magic.
So just they need just a hand
They
to
do.
help them, and they
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
So I hope the initiative excels in the same way in Jalgaon as well, ma'am.
Yes,
Uh,
definitely.
Yes, ma'am. So another initiative taken by you, which went very viral, was that you tried to replace the gifts and flowers and buckets with school supplies. You requested people to bring you school supplies and not flowers and buckets and other gifts. So tell me something about that story, ma'am.
Yeah. So actually, the idea wasn't mine. I'll be very honest. The idea was one of my heads of departments. He actually had completed 1 year in Nanded, and he told that multiple people come to congratulate you. So you know what, like, they always get you bouquets. Why not do something different? And I said, what different? And he said, we can get a lot of school supplies donated from people. And I said, this is absolutely wonderful. Give a press note. He gave a press note out, and the word spread. And next day, people did come with a lot of school supplies, except that there were also bouquets. So they kind of don't want to not give bouquets. I think in rural India, people are really, really loving, and they'll be like, no, no, bouquet तो बनता ही है. But आप बोल रहे हैं कि school supplies भी देना है, तो school supplies भी देंगे. But bouquet is a big this thing for them, even if they the smallest of the flowers, but they do give that. So at the end of the day, the photo that Better India actually picked up was me standing in front of entire stock of school supplies, which was given by the people, and it kept coming in, and we kept distributing, and it still goes on, and we've started it in Jalgaon also. So I think everybody really enjoys, giving school supplies for children as part of their wishes.
So, how was these school supplies provided to students later on? Like you went or you
I
directed the people?
personally distributed, and they were
Okay.
kept in my official vehicle. And whenever I used to visit a school, I used to distribute notebooks and pens and sketch pens and geometry boxes.
Wow. So is it still in process? Still
It,
continued or it is
it
still in
continued.
process? You still receive school supplies?
I mean, I remember there was one of my heads of department. It was a 52nd birthday, so she came with 52 dozens of notebooks, just
Wow.
to kind of take the legacy forward. So I feel like the seeds have been sown. More or less, it would be taken forward.
And children loved it.
Love, because I feel like in rural areas still we're dealing with poverty, and they do come with schools with a lot of old used notebooks from the previous years. So I remember even
Hmm.
as children, I remember my school time, there are a lot of any new notebook that we used to get, we used to be really, really excited, and especially geometry boxes and sketch pens. I also remember giving out shoes to 12 children. Somebody had gifted me 12 school shoes. So I also remember giving those out. So I feel like that is one of the most amazing initiatives that could happen by itself. I think I was not centered to that, but I was the means for that, definitely.
Yes, and like I think we should all get inspired by this initiative. And by means of Bureaucrats India, I would like to request people like you should like also follow the same. You should ask people to, instead of giving you flowers and cakes and anything, you can ask them like if they want to give you something, they can give you things which can help others, like school supplies or anything like that, which can be actually provided to the needy, and it can go to people who actually need it. So it's a beautiful initiative, ma'am, and I hope like it will be continued in Jalgaon and like whole of Maharashtra, and it reaches out to more and more people.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Another initiative by you is Vedh Movement, which was
Started in
it happened in Nandurbar. Yeah, so it helped in increasing literacy and numeracy ashram schools.
yeah.
So tell us something about that.
So Ved is again an idea that doesn't come from me. Most of the ideas, I'm just the means for implementation. I'm hardly the curator. And the idea came from a voluntary community of teachers that's working in entire Maharashtra behind the scenes. I'd really like to share about them because I think anonymous faces hardly get the publicity that probably bureaucrats like me would. And I remember meeting one of these teachers in Nandurbar. He was there for another visit. He's called Nilesh Bouquet. I remember him coming and sharing this idea of Vedh. So Vedh means you need to nurture and protect the learning curiosity of children. Something that also ancient Indian education systems, if you read, have also tried doing. Later, of course, because of the colonial influences, we are more syllabus driven. We need to create servants and create a workforce. But I think Ved was completely opposite. It was telling us that you need to respect the learning curiosity of the children. So now one wonders that this is such rhetoric. How do you get this on the field? How do you practicalize it? How do you implement it? So people who are not from the system, I'd like to tell them that the Indian education system scene is huge. It's humongous. It's completely not like if you see a school, a private school, you'll see like one principal who's a decision making authority and 600 children, 700 children. That's not how we work. We have 8 lakh teachers across Maharashtra, and we have lakhs of students. Like I alone in Nanded had 6 lakh students under my watch. So we cannot necessarily function as teaching, just with a syllabus. कि अगर टीचर को आ रहा है तो ही बच्चे को आएगा सिलेबस में है तो ही बच्चा सीखेगा because I used to joke around. I said, let's say Delhi discovers that dogs can fly or humans can fly, and then Delhi calls up Bombay, and Bombay calls up Pune, and Pune calls up Nanded, saying, "Oh, humans can fly. Please add it to the syllabus." And till that time, the entire process was done. We realized that even dogs can fly. So I always feel like, with this artificial intelligence and everything, things are moving so fast. People like you and me, Vigya, we are learning on our own. We are learning how to use chat GPT. We've never had a course or a school on how to use that. But children are being told that this is your syllabus and this is how much you should learn. This is how much you should know. Not beyond that, not below that. And these are rural children. They don't have the kind of exposure that probably urban children or private school children have. So, Ved, as a community of teachers, has got down this concept into a training module. It's literally this thick, and it's connected to free YouTube videos. So, if there is an idea that's being discussed, it's coupled with an activity, and that activity is linked to a YouTube video. So it's generally, it trains the teacher's mindset on not how to teach, but on how to make the students learn, which is a fundamental shift in general education system. So we are not telling them that the children should not learn two-digit division. We are not saying that. We are just telling that in a class of 40 children, if you give a monologic lecture of double digit division, then out of 40, 10 children do grasp what you're saying and do learn it, but that doesn't mean your job is done. How can you encash these 10 children to make the other 30 children learn? You can make peers, not pairs, peers. You can make groups, or you can tap on, let's say, a child's interest in cricket, saying, what if somebody's on 100 runs and you have to divide between 11 cricket players? How much does each cricket player get? But it's, the fundamental shift has to change from the teacher to the student. It can't be that I've gone into a class, told them that this is a physics chapter, taught it, and come back to my home and I'm resting. So this is what we got a lot of case studies on board. We got the phenomenal response. Again, like teachers are amazing. The narrative outside in general media is that they're lazy or they don't come to school, but most of them do. They kind of created their own learning materials. I was shocked that the government does give learning material on its own, centralized, manufactured in some fancy city. But I was like, what makes you think that a nondescript school on the Nanded Telangana border might actually relate to this? They might, they might not. So we actually asked the teachers to create their own learning materials. We had learning materials out of bottle caps, out of leaves, out of paper plates, everything. And, teachers were just using that to make these children learn. And I was really, really happy that we could improve. Nandurbar, I remember when I moved into Nandurbar, I had 2% children knowing division. So this is class 2 level of division. And when I moved out, that same figure was around 80% in 2 years. And it could happen. I didn't spend a single money. No money. Zero fund, zero government help. All that I did was got this module on ground, connected with the teachers. And again, I feel like the spirit, like being connected with the teachers, being connected with the students, visiting them, giving them a flower, a chocolate, just patting them on the back, saying, well done, making multiple WhatsApp groups. I think that really helped us.
How did the teachers accept it? Like they were,
Lot of resistance initially because I
yeah.
think Guruji, as we call them, they're highly egoistic. And all the teachers, I think if I would become a teacher later for IS aspirants, I'll be really egoistic. How can you question my level of knowledge and my store of knowledge? But I think these children, sorry, these teachers were so resistive initially. They're like, why are you calling us for a 4-day training? It's raining outside. We want to go with our families to like picnic locations. And I remember me and Nilesh had held our heads like this, like how do you push a workforce that's so like stiff over the years because they've done B.Eds, D.Eds, they've taught children, they've not gotten the results, they've been called out names by the media and by NGOs. Oh my god, the way education NGOs talk to teachers is just so insulting. And I remember that I said, like, you know what, you've taken the training and you go to your schools and let's see how many teachers get active. So, if you know about Rogers curve, there's a section of people that are already motivated. So we tapped on them first. They were motivated and they showed tremendous results in their schools. And then we use them as examples for everybody. So, the people who are sitting on the fence, which is a major part of Rogers curve, it's a inverted bell curve. And these middle teachers are not really uh, they're sitting on the fence, they're waiting that okay, ye karega to we'll try. So once the 13.5% motivated teachers started working, we had all other teachers jump into that pool and they started giving us results. And I should also say that there was certain section of teachers that never worked, and they never worked, but tiny.
Right. So is this model still in practice in Nandurbar?
It is. I'm still part of that group.
Wow. My dear friends, you're watching Bureaucrats India Dialogue Series. Today on the Sunday special episode, we have with us Minal Karanwal, IAS. I think there is some technical glitch from her side.
Yes.
Minal, yes, ma'am. I guess, ma'am, there was some technical glitch from your side. Hello? Yes, so we'll request ma'am to join again. Yes, she's here. Yes,
Started
ma'am.
love.
I guess there was some technical glitch. You were telling us about is the process still in continue in Nandurbar?
Yeah.
Yes.
It continues in Nandurbar. I'm still part of their groups. It's crazy that the teachers, when I moved to Nand, they were like, no, you can't leave that group. You have to be part of it. And I remain a part of it. And I'm part of the Vedh Nanded group. I would also like to share that while I was in Nandurbar, I represented this project to the education secretary of Maharashtra, and he got it escalated it across Maharashtra. So now all districts are trained in Ved, and but if a focused way, I would start it in Jalgaon itself.
Nice. So that's what I was about to ask that is it copied in other places across Maharashtra as well? So
It was escalated
um
straight
that's
across.
excellent, ma'am. It's truly beautiful. Uh, ma'am, my next question is like in all the initiatives that you have taken across Maharashtra, whether it is Vedh Movement or Balika Panchayat or the other one replacing gifts with the buckets, it is very important to engage community. So, how do you feel has that been possible, and what are the strategies that have been used to engage community in such processes that convince them to be a
Yeah.
part?
I feel like community is the center because community doesn't necessarily mean people. I think community of teachers that we worked with, community of health workforce we worked with, community of sarpanches, community of gram sevaks, everybody that we worked with is been really, really important. But what I feel is, and I think I'm saying this on record, I'll take the risk for that as well. Then most of our mindsets are very Western. Why I say this? I mean, I'm coming from Delhi University. I come from a college that probably stands for a lot of Western as well. But I have seen a lot of snootiness, if I can call that out, or a sense of disgust for how much can the community innovate, how much can the community lead by itself. I didn't feel that was the right thing when I saw it. um, I do even see it in policy discussions. When it's about taking an advice from a sarpanch and a gram sevak, I think a lot of policymakers, even consultants, who are kind of who've never even seen a village in their life, they kind of don't relate to the power of the community. And not that I know it, I'm sorry, I don't want to put it on record like I know the entirety of it. I don't think so. I even know, or I can even fathom what the community is, what the community looks like, what all the community wants, how powerful is it. I don't think so. Even I know that. But the only thing that I would want policy makers or um, when I speak about policymakers, I'm talking about a lot of consultants, a lot of people who've think tanks who've been advising the governments that they should actually uh, imbibe the spirit of humility when it comes to the rural community of India. Uh, as I told you, like a country like America can deal with abortion as a concept even today.
Mhm.
Countries in Europe are dealing with questions of racism. Even today, if you talk about caste in India, there's racism in Europe out and out. And if you talk about, a lot of people tell me that in rural India is dealing with its own caste and its own etc. and its own women issues. It is, and nobody's denying that. But the community is also leading on multiple fronts. It's leading in water conservation. I mean, if you've heard about Ralegaon Siddhi, Opodra Pawar, there are multiple examples that might not come on record, come in the mainstream media, but rural communities are extremely dynamic. They are innovative. They want to lead from the front. They are demanding. They're democratic, and I think that is one thing that I tapped into. That my tone while talking to them, my heart, my spirit while talking to them was not that of disgust. I think it was of respect. It was wanting to move at their speed rather than me wanting them to move at my speed. I think that is something that I've tried to do in almost all my projects, whether it be infrastructure, whether it be social, whether it be anything.
Right. And also, like, ma'am, some of the challenges that you have seen in while bringing a change, especially in rural areas, that you would like to address in Jalgaon, some of the learnings.
Yeah. I think I was very conservative in my approach. I was My risk taking was very less. I used to feel, oh, acha, because I was thinking a lot more because I've been trained theoretically before I was trained practically. So I was very like, if I do this, this might happen. If I do that, that might happen. I think after 1.5 years of dealing with Nanded, the only thing I would not like to do in Jalgaon is be conservative. I want my risk appetite to be bigger. I would want my projects to be even larger, no pilots. I think I would want to move in with full force and with full scale, something I couldn't do in Nanded.
Beautiful, ma'am. Ma'am, like we have seen, your most of the initiatives that you have taken are around education. So, what has inspired that your inclination towards empowering education in rural areas?
So I'll share you an experience that I was sent to Singapore for a training by the government, and I was training in the Civil Services Institute, Singapore. And there I remember looking at a currency note of $2 Singaporean, and I was shocked, and I'm sure you would be too, that on that currency note, a teacher with students was drawn. I was never addicted to seeing something like that because the discussions that I've seen here back home are more on which historical personality to put. And even if I've been to a couple of countries outside of India, and I've always seen some of their historical personalities and then currencies. In Singapore, I saw a teacher with students, and we did meet the director of education, and I asked him this question that, why do you have anonymous teachers with students on your currency notes? And he's like, because we feel, and Lee Kuan Yew, who was the president of Singapore, who is my ultimate idol in public administration as well, he used to say that if we can get a hold over what we teach our citizens or what our citizens learn, we don't have to think about any other policies. So, when we look at policies and so much money is going into deciding what to do and how to draft it and how to get a blueprint, but ultimately the people implementing them are not who you can train via policy. You have to set up a system of education where even if there is no policy, they are doing the right thing. So, when you look at Britain doesn't even have a constitution. It doesn't have a written word for its people, and people are still doing the right thing. How? Because they've developed a culture, a system of doing the right thing. The education system rests on basic morals. I'm not asking you to say kabhi jhoot nahi bolna and all that. No, I'm just saying like basic morals, basic etiquettes, ethics, basic understanding of the world, addition, subtraction, division, reading, respecting a child's curiosity. And I feel like those are things that if I could do, probably it will go easy for even a metro project to implement itself. That's the link.
And ma'am, how do you feel like the condition of government schools in rural areas, especially, that can be improved? Because we see that at most of the places that the teachers are not there, students are not there, or one of the teacher keeps sitting. We don't have teachers for all the subjects. We see that most. We don't have science teachers. We don't have maths teachers. We have English teacher teaching science and science teacher teaching Hindi. That kind of situations in many government schools across India. You must have seen in your district as well. So, what do you say about that, ma'am? How can that be improved?
Yeah. I feel, yeah, we are all scientific individuals. I feel when we say such statements of teachers or teaching or students not coming, I think our baseline data is not there. To be very honest, I remember meeting a guy from one NGO, and he was sharing that government teachers are very lazy. And I said, I mean, I will not deny that fact in totality. But I said, how many teachers have you met? And you're there in an NGO that deals with education, so I'm sure you met quite a lot of uh, teachers. And he said, probably 100. And I was like, there are 7.5 lakh teachers in Maharashtra. How can you say teachers are lazy without not having met at least 50%? So I kind of, I will not disagree with what you say that there are a lot of problems that the system deals with, because as I said, decision making is huge, the scale is huge. I'm sitting in Bombay, I'm deciding for a teacher in Gadchiroli, and I feel that's exactly what Ved is, that it wants to decentralize. It wants to tell the teachers, you know what, do whatever you want and just give me the outcomes. So yes, there are a lot of complexities, a lot of infrastructural issues we are dealing at school levels, a lot of training issues we are dealing. I will not deny any of that, but I'll also tell you that there are amazing teachers. There are some fantastic schools. There are some fantastic students still coming out of these schools. and we want to also focus on them, that they should go a step forward from where they are, probably from good to fantastic. And these schools where you've mentioned about poor infrastructure and teachers, we would also want to come them into the good and fantastic category. So yes.
It's wonderful, ma'am. Ma'am, what are the like some long-term changes you would like to see in the local governance? Long-term changes, and how would you like to contribute to it?
Yeah, I think long term, when I see is, I don't want the sarpanch to be the shadow of an MLA or the shadow of an MP, because I think um, more of the top down governance has taught them to behave like how an MLA would, and their job is exactly the opposite. So, with the 15 Finance Commission coming into place, I think the government did an absolutely fantastic job of giving a lot of money directly to the sarpanch. So I say, and I say in a joking manner sometimes that even if the sarpanch wants to waste that money, let him waste it, because I feel like it's better wasted by a sarpanch than it's wasted by an MLA. Because in the entire thought process behind is that the decision making in the rural India should get as decentralized as it can. It should be more like the village deciding what I can do and what my village should look like, than somebody like me coming from Delhi and telling somebody in Jalgaon, this is how you should behave. This is the kind of crop you should put. I feel like they know their geography better, they know their rainfall better, they know their uh, they know their soil better. Let them decide. As far as social constructs are concerned, because a lot of people will say that you know they wouldn't have progressed socially had it not been for certain rules like banning child marriage from central, had we left it in the villages, which is also completely true. I feel like socially there are certain things that the outside of the village understands and the inside of the village, but I still feel like a lot more decision making should be devolved to the villages. And of course, some of it should be kept at the central level as well, but I'm a hardcore decentralized thought process person. Yeah.
That's beautiful, ma'am. So when Miss Minal Karanwal is not working as a bureaucrat, what does she do? What are your interests? What are the activities you engage yourself in?
Yeah, so I am a classical dance person. I learned Kathak. I've cleared one exam. I'm learning for the second level as well. I
So you
love
are
dance.
doing it right now.
Yeah,
Like you
I
are
do.
still
I love,
learning. Wow.
yeah. And I love dancing. I'm a complete tapori when it comes to dancing, so I love it. I've learned a little bit of contemporary jazz in when I was preparing. So anyway, dancing is something that comes naturally to me. I love writing. I maintain a blog which is called an epistle. So epistles were ancient Greek letters that used to be written for somebody's well-being. So I do write a blog as well on life in general, and I love reading. I am kind of a spiritual person. I read a lot of spiritual books. I kind of am a lot more into reading. There is this Japanese scholar called Dr. Daisaku Ikeda. So him is somebody I've read for the last 6 years. I still do. I read him very avidly, and I think that's helped me a lot. So yeah, reading, dancing, writing, and also I'm a big Netflix buzz. Like I love watching absolutely brainless shows sometimes. When you put too much of your intellectual brain into decision making, you want to steam out sometimes. So I love watching rubbish, if I can say it like that, on Netflix as well.
So it's a message for our people who say that they're not able to spend time in their hobbies and do the things which they like, spend time with their families and like watch movies and other things because of work. So see how Middle Man is doing such an excellent job and taking so many initiatives and is still able to do dancing and watching Netflix and writing and reading. So it's wonderful, ma'am.
Thank you.
Uh, a message for our UPSC aspirants, ma'am. What would you like to advise?
Now that you've mentioned time management, I would definitely like to say this on record, because also this video is being recorded, it will be put out for perpetuity. Is that when I meet young people, I see them killing time, and I feel very sad about it. So, when Three Idiots, when there was this line, Ghante ka purna istemal, din ka purna istemal, I don't see people doing that at all. And I think when I meet successful people, I will be very honest with you. I have seen all successful people are great time managers. They know which hour of the day their body likes to do certain things. They know which hour of the day their body would like to rest. They know which hour of the day they don't want to do something or are most productive at doing something. They just know their body, their mind, themselves extremely well. And I am one of those people. I want to really tell people that when they work through life, can be UPSC, it can be MPSC, it can be even after coming in the job, it's not a hunky dory life. If you do not know who you are, if you do not know what your body wants, when it wants, if you do not know what upsets you, what doesn't, if you do not have that patience and that clarity and that calm in life to know where you want to go, what you want to do, how much you want to revise a particular syllabus chapter, how much do you want to practice, how many mocks, what fears you, what calms down your fear. Nobody can help you. Not Minal, not any other topper of UPSC. Let them give a number of interviews, let them say anything. But if you're not self aware, no book can also teach you that. I think it's a lot of self reflection while you're sitting alone, a lot of journaling and writing. What makes you happy, what doesn't. Even if you know, write it down, put it on a piece of paper. So I think self awareness is something I would really like young people these days to cultivate. It doesn't come to you naturally, it will never come to you naturally. You have to cultivate it, and you'll go a long way if you know who you are. Otherwise, the world will tell you who you are, and then you'll go into depression.
When you say that when you see young people killing time, do you think social media and AI has a role to play in it?
No, I think so. You know what? Rural children having no phones also kill their time, and an urban kid having a phone might utilize his time better. I don't want to call the means the problem. I don't want to call any media, any means, any product. I don't want to blame anything. The only person to blame is you. There's nothing in this world that can shake your sense of what you want to do in your life if you have a purpose. Why do all of us go where the world is going? It's because none of us actually have a purpose. So right when I moved to Jalgaon and when I moved to any other places, my first thing is to set up a outcome. This is what I want to do. Like how you asked, what are your priorities in Jalgaon? And then I moved backwards. So when I was preparing for UPSC, I said I want to get rank 33. It's a very popular core answer as well. And then I moved backwards. I said 33 rank लाने के लिए क्या करना पड़ेगा? So I would honestly, I will not blame social media. I'll not blame AI. I think people in America are innovating and inventing even when they have the best of AI tools and the best of iPads around them. It's not about that. It's about the cultures. It's about the mindset. It's about the purpose in life. I feel like a lot of youth in this country are not actually thinking on how to make this a better place to live. Like I will not name the place, but I was in a party once which had middle class people, like youth were middle class coming from well-to-do families, and I could still show them, I could still see them throwing garbage around, and they were dustbins. there was everything. And I feel like that kind of entitlement that sometimes the social narrative here has, that, oh my God, a bureaucrat will do it. Oh my God, the government will do it. Of course, we will do it, and we are on it, and we have shortcomings. But what is your contribution to any of it? So I feel like the bees are never the problem. I think a lot of young people I've met, and I'm so glad tier two cities have some very, very active social NGOs run by youth, and they're doing phenomenal jobs. I've never seen it in big cities. I have no idea. Maybe I haven't met them. They exist. But tier two cities have these youth colleges who are doing amazing service to the community. So I again, turning out to the question of social media and AI, no, they do not contribute to distraction. It's how you use them that leads to distraction. So again, the central point, the Shah Rukh Khan of your story is you. If you can develop self-control, self-awareness, purpose in life, nothing will move you. Nothing can ever will.
So Minal Karanwal says, be the Shah Rukh Khan of your life. You
Yeah.
have to understand yourself, you have to know yourself, and then you have to start planning your life. So, I'm being a young bureaucrat. I would like to listen to your views on how artificial intelligence is changing life. Do you use it in your like work, and how do you see the life changing around yourself because of it?
I have tried to make things in my life easier by uploading documents, let's say in Marathi, and asking for a quick explanation because it really saves my time for doing things that I otherwise would like to not do or save my time for. We've built AI into a health app where health spoken tutorials or videos for IT Bombay uploaded on YouTube. So there is this app we built for the field workforce where if they feel like the baby is not crying and what to do, they can be directed on the relevant portion of that YouTube video. So we've got that, but again, it was built by a third party. Yeah, that I think that's it because I use a lot of Chat GPT or DeepSeek, but for my personal, if I want a summary of something, I'll just write a question and it'll give me a holistic summary rather than me doing a Google search. So I think I've made my life much more easier than getting prompts and getting analysis. I'll upload an Excel document and I say, please tell me what this analysis is. So that kind of noise I've reduced, and it's made me even more efficient. Decision making being faster. So that way, I've really really used it. I'm an avid AI user. Avid.
Right. So, ma'am, who has been your inspiration in life?
Wow. Wow. Partly Dr. Daisaku Ikeda, yes, because I've read a lot of him about his life. And I would also say partly my parents. My parents come from a very, very humble background and they've been very honest with how they live their life. Like if they had to lie, it used to show on their face. So that's somebody that I am also in life. And I think that honesty really pays you off in life. And also, when it comes to administration, I've looked up to a couple of bureaucrats in the system. I think I really look up to one of my seniors, Chokalingam sir, because he's done phenomenal work in land reforms in the state. I really look up to one senior bureaucrat called Miss Manisha Verma. She is somebody who is so devoted and ardent. I don't think so. I've seen anybody like that in my life. I remember telling her that always go to a meeting prepared. It's such a simple advice, but I think my meetings are 10 times more effective because, she told me to do that. I have really looked up to Lee Kuan Yew. I think I say this on record as well that I've read two of his books. One was an interview and one was his biography. And I think I can never see more selfless leader in my head administratively because when I visited Singapore, every concrete project had a heart behind it. Because I feel like, what do you learn from concrete? Singapore is all concrete. It's buildings, it's robots, it's AI, it's everything. And then I'm like, what do you learn from this? And no, technology in Singapore has a heart, and that heart is Lee Kuan Yew. So I think I've learned a lot from him as well. And last but not the least, I think I learn daily from people I meet. Like when you meet rural people, they are so sincere, they are so honest, pyare ekdam. So if you go to their houses, they'll try giving you a lot of food, even though they might not have that much in their kitchen. They'll really want you to sit. They'll really want you. They'll give you a small shawl, and I look at them and I say, "Yeah, this is India," because every time I go to Delhi or I go to Dehradun, which is my place, urban India has made a lot of us selfish. Uh, we don't want to give a lot. We don't want to talk a lot. We don't want to share a lot. But I think I am so glad I'm in rural India. We share a lot, we talk a lot, we give a lot, and it just keeps me away from a lot of depression and anxiety. I am so glad I'm here.
That's wonderful, ma'am. Actually, it has been very, very like interesting conversation, insightful conversation, listening about your initiatives and how did you accomplish and your plans. Last but not the least, ma'am, a message for bureaucrats India as well.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am, I can hear. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yes, ma'am.
Bureaucrats India, I am really, really grateful to the entire team because I think a lot of people think that we do self publicity, bureaucrats, and that's how probably pages do pick us up. I would really like to say that this team was active on its own to pick my activities and also display it on a very, very bona fide handle, very bona fide page that made people recognize me, congratulate me, recognize people of rural India at the end of the day. So I am really, really glad that you could approach me rather than me approaching you for sharing multiple stories from rural India. So I'm really glad, and I really hope that the team continues to share the unsung heroes of Indian bureaucracy and India in general.
For our audience, I would also like to share that Meenal ma'am is also in our list of top 24 change makers of 2024 because of all the wonderful initiatives she has taken in Nanded, be it the Balika Panchayat or the replacing gifts and buckets by books and school supplies. So she's the one. And today, Meedal ma'am, I would like to thank you for all the wonderful learnings you have given us and your inspirations and the message for the young aspirants. Everything, it has been wonderful. Any last words from you on general bureaucracy and governance? Anything would you like to share?
I think as a country, let's be more grateful and more thankful to a lot of bureaucrats. Like, I do admit that there are shortfalls, I will never deny that. But I also know that there are multiple people who are working with all their honesty and heart for India's development, and let's give them a shout out always. Uh, I would also say that APJ Abdul Kalam, who is a former president of India, sorry, he had said that there are more reviews than views in this country, which is the problem. So I always feel like when people come up with criticism, it's not necessarily wrong. You should criticize. It keeps a lot of the government on their toes, and that's what democracy is actually even about. But criticisms should always come with reviews, which is the solutions as well. So a lot of us deal with a lot of complexities which are not necessarily you plan A and you do B. There are always a lot of complexities in terms of where the society is at, where the people are at, what kind of workforce we have. So I think that general sense of gratitude and general sense of cumulative thinking of suggesting solution based criticism, which is also constructive criticism, I think that will make the atmosphere even more conducive for this country to grow.
That's wonderful, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you so much. You have joined us on a Sunday for this conversation, and it was really like I wanted to keep it going on going and listening to you, and I'm sure our audience would also feel that. So thank you so much. I would also like to thank Bureaucrats India team by managing backend and making this episode possible today for us. I would also like to thank our viewers for joining us on Facebook and Zoom and making this episode possible on Sunday. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Meenal ma'am, once again. Um
Thank
Thank
you
you, ma'am.
for giving me this platform. Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Jai Hind.
Jai Hind.